Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels, and earlier this week I posted a video where 4 people had been kidnapped along the border near Brownsville, Texas. Today I heard an update and I wanted to share it with you. Also, I'm going to put a link in the description now on the news that I heard so you can hear it for yourself and listen for the truth on what the news talks about. Because later in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 2 concepts. One of them will be what we experience living down in Mexico, and do you need to be afraid? The other one is be careful what you listen to. Be careful what you read, and we're going to talk about those. Well, first thing this morning when I turned on the news, I found out an update. And the update is that out of the 4 people that were kidnapped, they were American citizens, and also 2 of them, I'm sad to say, were killed. And 2 more were found. They were in a small clinic, and one of the persons had been shot, and they have been taken out of Mexico, and they're in the United States. The one that has been shot is in critical condition or in very severe condition medically. The FBI is investigating this. They are working with the Mexican authorities, and the Mexican authorities are cooperating because they want to find out what it is. This is a very dangerous situation because now we've had killings, and we've seen killings of cartel against cartel and that. But now we have American citizens that have been killed. And so what happened? Well, as I understand it, these 4 people coming in, and they came into Mexico for medical procedures. I guess the woman wanted to get a little tummy tuck, and it may have been her second visit in there. So they came in to get medical care done there. Apparently, if it is a second procedure, they'd been there before, so they felt comfortable in the border town. Well, as I understand it, the Mexican cartel mistook these 4 African Americans as being Haitians, and they then kidnapped them thinking that they were part of the Haitian cartel. And unfortunately, 2 people were killed. One was injured and the other one. So 2 people did survive. They got caught up in a bad situation where they got caught in the crossfire of 2 cartels. What's the percentage of that happening? That's an interesting question. It did not start out as a kidnapping. It was the crossfire that they got caught up in is where the problem started. They were in a situation that they were at the right place, but at the wrong time. Don't forget to subscribe. Do you know that I spend 25 hours, believe it or not, in making a 10-minute video? And all I ask is maybe you subscribe, give me a like, a thumbs up, and make a comment. Thank you. We're not going to alter our plans in traveling in Mexico because of this situation that happened in the border, because it is a real small percentage. Tragedy, yes. Terrible, yes. Frightening, yes. All of that. But percentage-wise, it's a very small percentage of what happens, in Mexico. So we don't come from a place of fear, so we are going to be traveling. So it was interesting, when I posted that last video, comments that I got back. And I do like your comments, and I appreciate if you would make a comment on this. But it was so interesting to me. I got comments like, these 4 people were drug smugglers, and that they were there, to get drugs and smuggle them back into the United States. I got other comments that were saying like, these people were in the cartel of the Haitians, and they were there to disrupt the Mexican cartel. Another comment was like, hey, these people were there to get illegal drugs in Mexico. And that's what the problem was. So there was all these stories made up That wasn't true, wasn't in the newscast and that. And it's so interesting to me how people make up stories, and especially about Mexico. They've never traveled in Mexico, they've never been to Mexico, but they listen to conspiracy theories or stuff like that. And they make these comments that are not true. And it sounds like they really know what they're saying, and it's not true. A lot of people look at Facebook. They get on Facebook and they hear all of these things. Even in our area, Facebook is real popular for the expats, and there's a lot of chit-chat that goes on there that is not correct at all. Lori and I personally, we do not follow that type of stuff on Facebook because it only creates fear in that. What's the reality in traveling in Mexico? Let's talk about that. Well, we've been here for 15 years. I've traveled through Mexico for over 50 years. We've traveled extensively through Mexico, driving our own car in situations. We've never had any problem. Yes, we have been pulled over for traffic violations. A couple times, as an example, one time I was pulled over because I was speeding. I was pulled over and I was politely said I'm going to get a ticket. Well, I asked him, can I pay that fine right now? So I gave him some money and I paid the fine right now. Now, some people would say that I bribed him, but I like to think that I just paid for the fine up front. He would take care of it for me. Another situation, we were in a small town and I got confused and I ended up driving where it was only a pedestrian area. Well, I got pulled over and I was presented with the possibilities of a ticket, and I said, is there any way we can work this out? And he politely told me for a certain amount of money, he'll pay that fine for me. Again, maybe that's a bribe, but so what? I say, because I got it taken care of. I did break the law, so what the heck? I'd have to pay a fine anyway. If he pays it for me, great. If he puts it in his pocket, that's none of my concern. But this is ways that we travel in Mexico and we haven't found any trouble. You know, the sad part about people who get really involved in the fear factor of traveling, it's not only in Mexico, other countries. And maybe we feel a little bit braver or something like that, because luckily Lori and I, we've never bought in the theory that we're going to run into trouble. We sort of go into an area being polite, trying to dress properly for their culture, learning a few words in their country that we can greet them, and they really like that. This is why we have traveled to 37 countries, and most of them are emerging countries, some of them third world, and we have had later on this fall, we're going to plan a 90-day trip throughout Mexico, and we'll be driving. You do want to be careful in parts of Mexico. That is the truth. So you don't go to Cancun. Let's say we don't go to Cancun. You go if you want to. We don't go to Acapulco. We don't go to places where the cartel is known and to be, because in those places, the resorts, that's when they're selling their drugs. That's where there is more activity around there. So we just stay away from those places. We're using some common sense where we go, being practical. Being out late at night, let's say drinking, being in dark places. You wouldn't do that anywhere, in the United States, Europe, anywhere. So use your common sense when traveling, and be alert, be proactive, and definitely this is what we do, and we have not had any trouble. In closing, what I want to say is use your intuition. Check on alerts. If the American consulate is giving you an alert, check on it. Double check. Make sure you feel safe. If you don't feel safe, don't travel. Don't travel in this country or any country. Use your intuition. See what you feel comfortable with. And that's going to be the best thing. If you don't feel comfortable with it, don't do it. Pick another destination or another time and then go in that direction. You'll find that you'll be at peace, you'll enjoy your trip more, and you'll have a better experience. And you're not going to be traveling in fear because you, back in the back of your mind, thought, I should have never made this decision. So trust your intuition and do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. Be polite, dress appropriately, abide by the customs of the country, and you're not going to have trouble. Or you're going to minimize bad situations for you. Every Friday at 5 p.m. California time, we have a new video for you. Check it out. Also, if you would like to book a private phone consultation with me and go over subjects like this or anything else, possibly you want to buy a house in Mexico, can you buy it on a temporary visa? Maybe you want to know about medical insurance in Mexico. Is it good to have medical insurance? You may want to know about travel insurance, car insurance, those type of things. I can answer any questions that you have. Or in the comments, if you leave me a comment on what you would like me to make videos, I'd love to do that for you. Because my objective here in making YouTubes is to provide you with updated information